So the last topic in soil reinforcement, let us see what are all we have left other than that were in the last classes will be covering in this chapter or in this particular class. So in the soil reinforcement we have taken into consideration different things like soil columns or stone columns. We have taken geotextiles, we have taken geosynthetics, and we have even taken gabion walls construction, or we have taken all the required elements wherein you are not going to introduce any new element into the soil. You are going to use other soil in order to reinforce this particular soil. You're going to use some stone elements in order to reinforce. You are not going to change the properties of the soil. You are not going to change any property of the existing soil, but you are adding some elements into the soil so that it's mainly the tensile strength of the soil is enhanced. In this particular process, we have used sand columns, we have used gabion walls, we have used stone columns, we have used geotextiles, we have reinforced the soil with some fiber pieces or fibers, and you try to mix all this so that its tensile strength is increased. So now let us see what are the other methods that are possible which we have left in the before classes. So that is the left out things whatever are there in our particular particular chapter. Today we will just have a glance of all those topics, so that with this we will be ending our total chapter. So the first and foremost thing is geosynthetic reinforced soil. So this geosynthetic reinforced soil, right from the ancient times we were using it. See, in ancient times, soil reinforcement consists of mixing straw with mud, reinforcing with woven reeds, and using branches and other plant material to improve strength and capacity to support greater loads. See, in the initial stages also, right from the ancient times, we were starting using this soil reinforcement. How we were doing soil reinforcement, what we were doing, we used to have the soil, or we used to take the mud, we used to combine that with some straw. Straw can be depending upon the plant growth in the nearby areas. You can use wheat straw, or else you can use paddy straw, or depending upon the things, jowar or maize. All these elements, they are being mixed with mud. After mixing it with mud, what we have done is we have woven this with reeds. How we have woven them? We have used some plant material, like for example, we had palm and coconut fibers which were used in order to reed all these particular things, so that the strength and capacity was increased. They will be able to hold much of your loads. For that reason, geosynthetic reinforced soil was used right from the ancient days. Only thing is, we had given them a name called as geosynthetics, but in the olden days when it was used, we used only all the elements which were eco-friendly, which were very much natural. So with that, we have first one is geosynthetic reinforced soil, using soil reinforcement. Now we have a new element that is being called as neem plaster. Neem plaster, when you see, that is nothing but a mud reinforced with straw, and some bitumen is added so that it will not be allowing the water to pass through it. So the same is the concept of geosynthetic reinforced soil also. Only thing is, over here you have used bitumen, over here in geosynthetic reinforced soil we have used plant material for reinforcing the element. So the plant material are your natural fibers. Natural fibers are being used. So that is your geosynthetic reinforced soil. So when we say soil reinforcement, it means that you are going to increase the tensile strength of the soil right from the starting. Right from soil reinforcement, from the starting we were telling that Soil reinforcement is performing by placing tensile elements in the soil to enhance its natural stability and strength. So soil reinforcement, what is that you are telling? You are going to increase the tensile strength. How is that you are going to increase? You are going to increase by increasing its stability and strength. How is that stability and strength are increased? Because of some reinforcing elements. What are those reinforcing elements? We use some natural fibers. What are the natural fibers that we have? Cotton, coconut, or else palm, whichever is capable of to be woven into a material type. That all things we are using is. This is achieved by bringing reinforcement elements in contact with the surfaces in the aggregate and subbase of soil mass. So we are not going to remove all the things. See, before generally what we used to do, we just used to remove the top surface layer, top layer of your ground, and then we used to start our construction. Now because of various elements that have come into construction, what is it we are thinking about using? We are using this topmost layer also in order to increase the property of the soil. It increases the strength of the soil because of the roots that are present in that. So here soil reinforcement, you are going to achieve it by bringing some reinforcing elements like your fibers nearby to the surfaces of the aggregates or soil mass. So that is your soil reinforcement. The next thing in soil reinforcement is construction of soil nail wall. What is this soil nail wall? Elements of a soil nail wall. What are the elements that we find in soil nail wall? First one is tendons. Tendons are nothing but reinforcing elements which increase the tensile strength of the soil. So here tendons are the ground reinforcing elements behind a soil nail wall and equivalent to steel bars. So what are these tendons? Nothing but you have got some reinforcing element. What is that reinforcing element? He had given it as equivalent to steel bar. Equivalent to steel bar but not a steel bar. So that is the thing. That is how much of the strength is being gained by a steel bar in concrete. The same amount of strength is being used by introducing some of the natural fibers into the soil. So that is those things you are going to call them as tendons. Next one is grout. Grout used for soil nails usually consists of Portland cement and water. So the grouting techniques, whatever are there, what is that we have done? Generally, whenever we take in the construction mainly related to concrete, we use only Portland cement and water, and you are going to jet it with pressure. But when you take the case of soil, what is it we are doing? We are sending some mud mass into the soil. We are adding some additives which are along with the requirement that is needed and what properties to be enhanced, all that are considered, and then we are adding some additives and then sending it in the form of grout. These grouts used for soil nails, usually they consist, but they need not be this. Sometimes you can use lime for for enhancement of your soil, or sometimes sand we use, sometimes any other different element like your fly ash or slag. Only thing is we'll try to use them in a proper manner. The next thing what we have is corrosion protection. For corrosion protection, what is the thing? Soil nails used in permanent applications require chemical and or physical protection against corrosions. So only thing is whatever we are using it for soil nailing, those elements should not be corrodable. You need to use a non-corrodable element or which doesn't have a chemical or which doesn't have any physical contact. It should not create a chemical reaction because of the physical contact between them. So such elements will be using it in our construction. And the next one is soil reinforcement. What is soil reinforcement? Soil reinforcement is nothing but increasing the stiffness and strength of the soil using some geoengineering methods. What are geoengineering methods? Adding your natural fibers, or else adding your lime columns, or adding your stone columns. So all these, or else adding some other sand columns. So all these becomes your soil reinforcing methods. Even though this is an old technique, it is working now for present day scenario. So soil reinforcement is a technique used to improve the stiffness and strength of the soil using geoengineering methods. A long time ago, natural fiber was used to reinforce the soil. So initially natural fibers were used, but after some time they are getting decomposed and the property is going to vary. Because of that, what we have done is we started using geosynthetics. This old technique did not have a high yield and required a lot of time for the soil to recover. So it took some years in order to go for decomposition, or else in order to enhance the property of the soil. Since we cannot wait for such a long time, what we have started using your geosynthetic elements. So we are trying to enhance this old technique and make a material which will be for a longer time, but will increase the strength randomly at the present time itself. Such elements we are starting using. In geotechnical engineering, soil is restored and reinforced with the distribution of minerals and soil nutrients. So in geotechnical engineering, what is the main thing we are doing? We are increasing the properties of the soil because of the distribution of materials. What materials? Minerals and soil nutrients. How we are going to add them? We are going to add them in some methods. So here soil reinforcement is necessary in lands where chances of erosion are high. So wherein the soil erosion will be taking place, over there soil reinforcement we are doing it. It is particularly useful in areas with soft soil as it cannot provide adequate support to any construction or building. So here wherein the soft soil is present, that soft soil will not be able to provide any support to the building construction. So for that reason, wherever we have a soft soil, wherever there are chances of erosion, over that places we have started using some soil reinforcement. This type of soil is also highly susceptible to various environmental and natural factors such as high compressibility, poor shear strength, temperature changes, etc. So the swelling characteristics can be there, or else there can be very high compressibility, or compaction can be done, or the shear strength is very less. In all these things, what did we start using? We have started using many of the elements for soil reinforcement, so that the soil will be able to increase its properties. So let us see what are the different things. We said we have started using the geosynthetics, geogrades. Next we have started gabion walls or gabion elements. We have started stone columns. All these are different methods of reinforcing your soil. They are susceptible to more of temperature changes. They give good shear strength. They are having very less compressibility, or the compaction factor will be very less. They will be able to give more of strength to the soil. In all those cases, we have started reinforcing the soil. In soil reinforcement, different engineering techniques are used to enhance the soil strength. One product that is available is geogrades. So we have already seen regarding geotextiles, spreading of geotextile, and then you are putting some sub base, and then you are doing your construction. So what will happen to the geo material? Generally it will not allow the water to penetrate. The capillary action becomes less, or it becomes a strong base or the strong platform, so it will be able to resist all the vehicular loads. So here we have used different techniques for different methods, different techniques, different methodologies depending upon the soil condition. So here the one main thing whatever is to be kept in our mind is ultimately the soil strength has to increase, whether you are using a natural product or else we are using a synthetic product, or whether you are using an eco-friendly element or anything. Only the ultimate thing what I need is I want the soil strength to be increased. So for that increase in soil strength, what I do is I start using different materials, but I see that the environmental impact is very less. I'll see that the chemical effect because of adding of these elements on the soil is also very less. The construction is easier, the cost of construction is very less or is economical. So over there, in order to increase my soil strength, one such product that is available in the market which is eco-friendly, which is economical, is GeoGrade. So let us see what is GeoGrade. So the element what we use is GeoGrade. The Magrid geogrades are most commonly used in soil reinforcement as they are engineered to be extremely durable and resistant. Magrid is the name of the company which distributes or which manufactures geogrades, and the elements whatever are made by this Magrid company are very much durable, very much stronger, and also resistant to high loads. Because of this reason, so we are preferring the elements made by Magrid. So Magrid geogrades generally they are preferred in our constructions. Mostly we use those elements. So the next elements what we use is, which is much used, is geotextiles. Geotextiles are another popular option as they are cost effective, more profitable and highly adaptable. So the next to geogrades, what are the next elements that are very much adaptable, very much cost effective, profitable? The element is geotextiles. This serves to maximize the reproducibility of soil and thickens the soil volume for increased strength. So what is happening? Maximize the reproducibility of soil and also to thicken the soil volume for increased strength we are using these geotextiles. So geotextiles are the next thing. So how is this geotextile element made? Geotextile is a woven permeable fabric in geotechnical and bioengineering. It is used for separation, filtration, protection, reinforcement and drainage of the soil. So the next element that we have is geofabric or geotextile. How is it? It is just made as a fabric and which can be easily laid, which can be spread over your foundation, spread on the soil. So here what is it using? It is being used for separation, filtration, protection, reinforcement and for the drainage of the soil. It allows a two-way exchange across the fiber and within the fiber. So you have two types of things over here. One is across the fiber and the other one is within the fiber. With over 80 applications, geotextiles are manufactured with polymer, polypropylene or high density polyethylene depending on the soil requirements. So here what is the main thing? You have different applications. Because of different applications, what is that we are doing? We are making this geotextile with different elements. What are the elements we have? We have polymers, polypropylene, high density polyethylene depending on the soil requirements. Depending on the soil requirements, we use geotextiles manufactured with different types of elements. Generally, there are three types of manufacturing methods. One is pressing, felting and weaving. So these are the three methods in which geotextiles are being created. So what are the three methods? Pressing, felting and then weaving. All the three materials. All the three methods. How we make our cloth, in the same way even geotextile is being prepared with the many elements, but that elements how they are being woven, it is only using only three techniques. That is one pressing technique, when you use pressure, felting technique, the next one is weaving technique. How is this soil reinforcement done? Soil reinforcement is performed by placing tensile elements in the soil to enhance its natural stability and strength. So how is it we are doing? We are taking some element and then we are putting it in the soil so that its tensile strength is increased. The natural stability as well as strength is increased. This is achieved by bringing reinforcement elements in contact with the surfaces in the aggregates and subbase of soil mass. So how is it you are going to achieve them? The reinforced elements whatever are there, those you are putting it in the soil mass, in the subbase or on the surface. It can be either on the surface or else on the subbase. Both the things, but we are trying to mix it with the soil so that whatever the required strength is there, that we are going to get. When pressure in the soil mass causes a strain on the reinforcement, it creates a tensile load which can resist soil movement and provide additional support for increased strength. So how is it is being acting? Once any particular pressure is created on the soil mass, strain is created in the reinforcement. When strain is created, what happens? It creates a tensile load. This tensile load will resist soil movement and it creates an additional support for increased strength. This way, a soil reinforcement system is created which provides greater shear strength than the soil mass alone. So with this, how we have done? We have created a system wherein there is a tensile load being tensile strength being given by the added element and the soil mass is resisting it. There is some interchange of forces which is done between the reinforcement element and the soil mass. There is both a biaction in between those two elements which is making the soil have more of stability. So that is how the soil reinforcement is done. The challenges in soil reinforcement. Soil reinforcement plans are always customized according to the soil texture and its load bearing capacity. So soil reinforcement plans, it totally depends upon the soil structure. It depends upon the soil load bearing capacity. Depending upon the bearing capacity of the soil, we will be using different types of materials. Due to a wide variety of soil and load variants, bioengineers experience a number of challenges during soil reinforcement. So here what is happening, the soil is differing from one place to another. Because of the soil difference, load bearing capacity is changing. When the load bearing capacity is changing, what is happening? The engineers are facing many challenges during your soil reinforcement. So what are these? For the first one is for embankments. For embankment, we have started using your geotextile elements or geogrid elements. So for embankments on weaker foundations, such as airports near sandy ground, the biggest challenge is to reinforce the soil and stabilize it. So whenever we have embankments on weaker foundations, and that too the loads that are coming is because of your aircraft loads, then over there, in order to reinforce the soil, we need to use different technology or different methods. It can be your geotextiles or geogrids or gabion walls. So the next thing what we have is for steeping slopes. If you have steep slopes over there, in order to lay that much steeper, you cannot use any other method. Over there, what is the best method what we can use is geotextiles. Layers of geotextiles are placed strategically on the land to steepen soil slopes. The purpose is to increase the tensile strength of the soil by minimal sliding or rotation. So for steeping slopes, what is that we are going to use? We are going to use layers, geotextile layers, so that whatever the required tensile strength it is got, as well as sliding is also minimized. So that is your second thing. The next one is for retaining walls. Different kinds of wall applications are blended with geotextiles, such as on-site fills to reinforce soil supporting walls. So what is that? The next one for retaining walls, what is that we are using? Gabion walls, same as your geotextile element, but only thing is over there in the gabion walls we have some grid like material or a mesh like material filled with rock or stone. And but here what is that we are doing? We are using a blend of geotextile elements and we are trying to fill that element to reinforce soil supporting walls. Geotextiles provides an alternative to traditional cast in situ concrete structures for retaining walls. So when compared to your heavy masonry concrete structures, we are using geotextile structures, a traditional structure, so that it will be very much cost effective, which will be very much less in weight, which will be eco-friendly materials. So those we are using it for retaining walls. So that is your geotextiles using for usage for retaining walls. Next, for subgrade stabilizing, the tensile strength of soft and organic soil is low. The initial cost of traditional land filling can be up to 50% higher than the cost of soil reinforcement with geotextiles. See, generally what happens, the tensile strength of organic soils is very much less. If at all, if I want to use your traditional land filling method, then what happens? The cost will be more. But instead of traditional land filling, if I go for geotextile materials, then what happens? 50% cost I am going to save it. So geotextiles can be used to distribute the load uniformly within the soil and minimize the displacement of small soil particles. So here what is it geotextile doing? It is distributing the load uniformly and also minimizing the displacement of soil particles. Hence, geotextiles are a low cost alternative to traditionally subgrade displacement, excavation followed by replacement and chemical soil stabilizing techniques. So here, see, it is going to displace your other methods. What are the other methods? When we take geotextiles, it is low cost alternative when compared to your traditional subgrade displacement, excavation, and then again going for replacement, and then going for some chemically soil stabilizing methods. When compared to all these materials with respect to the cost, with respect to the effectiveness in the work, your geotextiles are preferred. So for subgrade stabilizing, when compared to all the other methods, geotextiles is the most economical method. For reinforcing the base course, it is for sub base, and even for the base course also, this geotextiles will be good. The load bearing capacity of soft soil can be improved by increasing the tensile strength of granular base course material. So if you have a soil, that too a soft soil, then how is that you are going to increase the strength of the soil? Just by tensile strength. How you are going to increase the tensile strength? By increasing the bearing capacity, by increasing the tensile strength of granular base course material. So how is that we are going to increase the granular base course material strength? By introducing some geotextile element. So geotextile increases the tensile strength of soil by increasing its load bearing capacity at the granular base structure. A grid structure is commonly used for reinforcing the granular base course. So in the geotextile, what is that we are doing? We are increasing the tensile strength. But instead of using a geotextile, if you use a geogrid structure, then whatever the requirement of reinforcement need for granular base course, that will be achieved. So better to use a geogrid rather than your geotextile. When it is base course, go for geogrid. If it is sub base, go for geotextile. Both are economical when compared to other methods. So the next thing is geotextile. Why we are using geotextiles? These are cost-effective methods of reinforcing soft soils in areas such as lagoons, sludge ponds, etc., wherein you think that the soil cannot be used for any method of construction. Over there, we can use geotextiles. That is, your lagoons or sludge ponds, you can use geotextiles in order to enhance the properties of the soft soil. So in such an areas, when we are going to use geotextiles and put into use, then I think for all the other things we can use geotextiles without any doubt. Geotextiles can strengthen soft soil by providing high tensile support and anti-deformation capability to support building structures and improve the quality of soil body. So what is that geotextile is doing? It is strengthening the soft soil, it is increasing the tensile strength, it is creating an anti-deformation capability to support building structures and also to improve the quality of soil body. Because of all these reasons, geotextiles have found its use in our construction. They are changing the total type of construction. They are making, we are making use of geosynthetic materials, geogrids, geomeshes, geotextiles, all these materials in order to increase our construction strength. So in order to increase the soil strength, in order to increase the durability of the structure, in order to have an economical structure. So for all these means, we are finding geotextiles to be the best alternative. This will come to the end of Unit 6, that is modifications by inclusion and confinement, wherein we have seen regarding inclusions and confinement using pile foundations. We have started using soil reinforcement methods, wherein soft soils or problematic soils are being treated with different methods. So in this soil reinforcement methods, we have seen various methods, that is physical methods, mechanical methods, chemical methods, wherein in physical methods we have seen different types of techniques like vibration, thermoelectric, freezing and thawing, mechanical methods, fibrous materials usage, and in mechanical methods itself, usage of surcharge load, and in chemical methods we have used different methods like cement, lime stabilization, bitumen stabilization. We have used different types of enzymes, so on. And when it comes to the confinement procedures, we have even seen how the geosynthetic materials are being used in construction, and in this we have even seen how the natural fibers, when added to our soil, they are changing the properties of the soil, how much they are going to increase the capability of the soil, increase the strength of the soil. All this we have seen, usage of natural materials, but only thing is the natural materials they take more time in order to give strength, and after that also what is happening is this particular things they are going to these techniques, they are not going to last long because those are biodegradable materials. But later on, because of synthetical fibers, we are going to increase more. We are going to increase the soil strength because of their lightweight, everything. Because of all those reasons, we have found that when compared to your natural fibers, synthetic fibers are also good, but they are going to increase your strength considerably. So now let us see, after that inclusion methods, what is that we have seen? we have seen the next method. What we have seen is regarding the usage of soil reinforcement by stone columns, because by usage of geomembranes, by use of geotextiles, by use of gabion walls, because of the use of different other techniques. For the densification we have introduced the stone columns, the method of introducing stone columns, how much the strength of the soil is increased because of this construction. All this we have seen. After that we have seen even gabion walls, and we already discussed that the total construction field is becoming greener. When it is turning greener, we have seen that what are the eco-friendly elements, what are biodegradable elements, what all we are looking at. Is it only we are looking for long lasting structures, durable structures, or else are we looking for an eco-friendly structures, aesthetically good structures, or economical constructions? All these we have checked, and at the later stage we have taken into consideration the geosynthetic materials, wherein we have started using geogrids, geotextiles, and geomembranes. All these materials, because of their good strength, because of their cost effectiveness, and because of ease of construction, we have started using all these materials in the construction. So with this, the sixth chapter will be concluded, and regarding the questions and all, we can look into the questions. So you can have a quick review of all the things whatever are there in this. So when compared to the inclusion methods, confinement methods and all, we have started using mostly the structures which are constructed using gabion walls, because of ease in construction, because of cost effectiveness, because of high strength, because of even helping us in order to lay that in an economical, eco-friendly manner. Because of that reasons, we have started using this gabion wall structure. When compared to all the other things, gabion walls construction as well as usage of geosynthetic materials is much widely done. So because of the advantages in the use, we have totally moved towards the construction methods, gabion walls construction, usage of geosynthetic materials. Even though we have different methods like microbial methods also in construction, when compared to all those, the ease of construction is very good using gabion elements. So because of their flexibility, because of their permeability, because of their economical means, as well as eco-friendly nature and the aesthetic elements, when they are considered, gabion elements, they become most eco-friendly, most economical and everything. But when compared to gabion walls, the other structures which are most cost effective, or else whichever are using lightweight structures and all, we have the usage of geotextiles. Even when you use geosynthetic materials also, all the things whatever we have in the gabion construction we get. Apart from that, what is the next thing what we get is lightweight constructions are possible when you use geosynthetic material. But when you use gabion walls, what happens, you can create a green world. Whereas when we are using geosynthetic materials, in some places wherein we use natural geosynthetic materials, over there we can create even a green world. Same when compared to your gabion walls and geosynthetics, we don't find much difference with respect to the cost or any, whichever depending upon the procedure, the ease of construction, we go about the use of geosynthetics or for the Gaussian elements, depending upon the type of construction and the stability analysis requirement. So with this we'll be ending our chapter unit 6. So unit 6 comes to an end with all these materials.